Hello everyone. Well, what a lovely week it's been. We've had a lot of blue skies and everything seems a bit more brighter, doesn't it? The daffodils are all popping out and the crocuses and the snowdrops. Even the birds sound a bit louder at the moment. Spring's definitely just around the corner, isn't it? Now, in the old days, when houses had big open fires and it was winter time, people used to change all the furnishings in their house and put thicker curtains up and put extra thick rugs down to keep the houses warm. And often in spring, there would be a big spring clean, and people would actually change their furnishings. They'd put lighter curtains up and clean the old dusty ones, get rid of the old rugs, bash them and clean them all out, and put a little carpet down and just generally lift the house because it was a brighter time of year. Now, in Jesus's time, there was a spring clean quite like no other. As we know, Jesus is coming to that time when he knows that he will have to leave the earth and go to heaven. So Jesus was going around the countryside, preaching wherever he could the good news of God. And he arrived at Jerusalem and he went straight to the temple to observe everything that was happening in a courtyard. But because it was late in the afternoon, he didn't stay long, and the 12 apostles returned to Bethany where they spent the night. The next morning, Jesus and his disciples set off once again for Jerusalem. His followers noticed that Jesus was angry and upset about something, and once they arrived at the temple, they found out why. In the courtyard of the temple, traders had set up market stalls to sell their goods to the pilgrims flooding in to celebrate the Passover. The visitors wanted to buy animals or birds to sacrifice to God, and the really nasty salesmen were charging very high prices and taking advantage of the poor. Tax collectors, money changers cheated the Jews who had travelled from far away to worship God in his holy place. Other traders were using the courtyard as a shortcut through the city streets and were carrying all kinds of merchandise backwards and forwards. Jesus could not believe his eyes. He was horrified. This was his Father's house, a holy place built especially for prayer and worship. Yet the temple priests allowed all this shady business to be done within its walls. In a fit of rage, Jesus lashed out at all the traders and knocked over their stalls, throwing things everywhere, saying, God said that his house was to be a house of prayer, where people from every nation could come to worship him, he said loudly. But you have turned it into a den of thieves. And he drove out the moneylenders and hurled their coins to the floor, chased the animals out. The people were amazed at Jesus' courage. He was not afraid to speak the truth and stand up to the priests and the tricky salesmen. The Jewish people understood what he was saying and listened to his teachings. But when the chief priests heard, they were not happy. They were more determined than ever that Jesus should die. Well, that was quite a spring clean, wasn't it? Can you imagine going into church and finding all sorts of trade going on? That wouldn't be right, would it? Now, today, our little craft is all about making ourselves a memory so that we understand how Jesus was so angry. So the next time your mum goes up to your bedroom and says to you, this place looks a tip, you need to get it sorted out, just remember this story. Jesus wanted people to respect the church and care about it, and also care about each other, not turn it into something that it shouldn't be. Right, off you go. I need you to get some colouring pens, some scissors. If you've got some of those little foam sticky pads, that's great. If not, don't worry, glue will be fine. And I also need you to get a paper plate and come back and see me in a minute. Okay, see you soon. Bye. Right, here we go, crafting time. So the first thing you need to do is to get your paper plate, okay? So when you get your paper plate, can you see what I've done? I've cut the edge round, haven't I? Can you see? So I've taken a little bit off of here and a little bit off of here, cut it out and made a cross to go on the top. Can you see? And as you can see, it's supposed to represent a temple, a bit like Jesus had gone to praying and was horrified to find things other than prayers going on. Now, round the edge, I want us to remember exactly what Jesus said. My house shall be called a house of prayer. Can you see I've written that around the edge? My house shall be called a house of prayer. Okay, so that's that bit done. Next, I need you to get yourself into cutting and making little people. So what I'd like you to do is I need you to make a little Jesus. Now, Jesus doesn't get cross very often, so for me to draw a cross face on Jesus was a bit odd, but I've done it. As you can see, he doesn't look very happy, does he? So that's Jesus. Then I've drawn a table. Can you see my little table with its legs? Excellent. Then I've drawn a chair. So where all those people were selling things and counting money, we've got a table and a chair. I've done a little broom because I'm sure Jesus would have wanted it all cleaned up and sorted out. I've also reminded myself that it was also a place where they were selling animals. So I put a little bird because I thought he could fly out and away. Okay. So do you remember I said to you about those little pads? Look, I've got little foam pads. They just make it stick out off the plate a little. If you haven't got those, don't worry. Just a piece of glue will be fine. And then you just need to build up your picture on here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick Jesus on there first. So there he is, poor Jesus, not very happy with everybody at all. Okay, very cross Jesus. There he is with his broom. I'll put his broom on. So I think I shall put his broom underneath his hand because he's shaking everything out of the way. Can you see? Now, I would think the little bird would be very scared. So he'll be up in the air, flying away. There you go. There's our little bird about to fly off. And do you remember, he tipped all the tables over. So I decided I'd put my table upside down because he was so cross. He turned all the tables upside down, didn't he? And the chair, well, I think that's just going to have to lay over there because it would have bound to have been knocked over because poor Jesus was absolutely horrified to see the temple being used in such a way. All right, let your imagination go. If you want to put other things on there, that's absolutely fine. But just to remind you that actually a place of worship should be treated with respect. Right, everyone, I hope you all have a good week. It's a lot of us are going back to school this week, different shapes and forms. So I hope it all goes very well and you enjoy seeing your friends and your teachers again properly. And look after yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.